everyone. Whether you're a ghost hunter or a ghostly haunter, you have all arrived at the Paranormal Junkyard with James and Jamie. You can hunt us down every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Central Time. You don't have to hide in the shadows. Just turn on your media player and listen. You won't want to miss on an eerie minute. Catch you on the flip side.
Good evening, wherever you may be around the world. You're listening to the Paranormal Junkyard with James and
Jamie, of course. Wahoo! Our special guests tonight are Shannon Rogers, Jim Miller, and Lisa. I can't pronounce her last name.
Camerlo. Hi guys.
Hello, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. Doing really good. Yeah. Glad to be here with you guys.
So tell us a little bit about each one of y'all.
Okay, well, my name is Shannon Rogers. I am the lead investigator for Dyrect Lync Paranormal. And it's kind of my passion. I absolutely love doing it, and I've got a great team going. My mentor, Lisa, is here with us tonight, and she's the one who kind of drove me down this path starting years and years ago, and starting from metaphysical and leading on into the paranormal. She's my mentor. I love her. She's my moon sister, and then I got,
I'm Jim James. I'm the lead AV tech for Dyrect Lync Paranormal. I actually kind of got into, once I started having experiences when I was younger, it's something that's always fascinated me. And so I've actually gone with other groups when I lived in St. Louis and would do some AV work with them. And so, I met Shannon where I play music, and we connected on this, and here I am.
Awesome.
I guess it's my turn. I'm Lisa Camerlo. It's just like the car, but you add an L. Camerlo. It looks a lot more intimidating than it actually is. Let's see. I'm the psychic medium. I was born this way. I've been practicing for 25 plus years. I guess I'm also the mentor. Thank you, Shannon. Love you. Yeah, Shannon and I go way back. I've been doing readings and consulting and mentoring for going on 15 years now, and it's nice to see the potential in somebody come into fruition. And Shannon has just had this passion, and it's just blossomed. And so I'm really excited to be part of her team. No, I love you. Back at you, girl.
So, what kind of places do you go and investigate? Do you go to residentials, or do you go out to like the more famous places around?
Honestly, it's more residential. It is also, I actually just got back from being out of town for almost a week in East Texas, scouting out places for the team. We went to a town called Jefferson, my boyfriend and I, to check it out. And,
We actually booked a couple places to investigate, but I mean, a lot of the people on the team want to go to like Baker Hotel and a lot of places that you have to pay for, and I'm like, we can find there's paranormal everywhere. We have a new team. I was on a team before, and then Lisa encouraged me 4 months ago to start my own team, and this is where we're at right now. So we're in the middle of training everyone, but definitely any place. I mean, graveyards. We're going to go to Goatman's Bridge. Lining up the graveyard in Jefferson. So anywheres. I mean, my house, I've cleansed it twice. We're ready for a third time because it's everywhere constantly. So we're open to anything.
That's awesome.
I've been to Enoch Knob Bridge in Union, Missouri, which is, you ever get a chance, look that up. It was pretty famous there for a while. I think back in 2013 or 2014, though, they finally they knocked the bridge down. For one, there was no traffic. And I think the only reason they actually kept it up for so long was because there was so much activity out there. And I went out there very skeptically, and after reading some of the stuff on there, and I didn't experience like the big stuff that a lot of people said. Oh, we can see eyes in the trees and this, that, and the other. But it was when we were doing EVP session out there, I would ask if somebody was there with us. And the suspension cables on the bridge just started going whap, 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 and just smacking the hell out of the bridge while we were standing in the middle of it. And so it got our attention, and then they were videoing me while I was doing the EVP session, and they're just looking at me through the viewfinder, and their jaws are dropped, and I'm like, what's the problem? They go, dude, there is a huge ball of light above your head. When we went to look at it again, it was gone.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I've in Scotland at the Royal Mile. I did the haunted catacombs there. I've done the Arlington Hotel in Hot Springs, Old Park Hotel in Texas, in Ballinger, Texas. The audio that I submitted is from there, and it was amazing. I got to investigate with Chadlenberg and Lindsay Center, so that was like amazingly awesome experience. So I've done a lot of stuff, but now we're just trying to focus on training the team and wanting to take on everything. But it's fun. It's my passion. I enjoy it. So.
Yeah.
So when you go out to these places, what kind of equipment do you like using? I know a lot of people use video and audio, but do you use anything other than video and audio?
Oh, absolutely. One of my best devices to get evidence, honestly, is my cell phone. But yes, I have a 360 motion pod that I got from Paratronics. I have getting an SLS. We have the Phasma box. We have the K2. We have the Spirit box. A lot of different devices, but I want to start using some dowsing rods because I've learned like some of the more natural or some of the easiest devices you actually get the best evidence from.
Absolutely. I'm not a super huge fan myself. We do use the Phasma box, and I know Shannon's a huge fan of it. That is one thing that I'm not so big of a fan of that. But it does have some merits to it. I mean, we have asked some questions and gotten some replies. So I'm always a little more skeptical on the digital asking devices, but as far as what we actually use, yeah, I've actually caught some really good stuff on cell phones.
And then Lisa can chime in on this part here because she's more natural with everything. Lisa?
I like to utilize my pendulum because it's a great visual for the information that I'm receiving intuitively, so the people around can see it visually. There's a famous lady here. She was a socialite here in Colorado. Her name is Baby Doe Tabor. She was very very influential in the big boom of Denver, and a really good friend of mine happened to have her piano. And she also started having a lot of activity in her house with this chandelier. The crystals kept coming off and flying across the room. So she got in contact with me, and we went over, and it was really exciting. And even though I've been doing this my whole life and I was born this way, it still is kind of weird and freaky when you see that stuff happen. My pendulum went up sideways and just laid there horizontally for a few minutes and then dropped down. We had the piano start playing. It was quite an exciting afternoon, but it gives the spirit a voice. It gave her a voice as to why her energy was there in the piano, and that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy working with paranormal teams, to give the spirits a voice so that they can get closure and go wherever they're going to go.
That's awesome. So, earlier I received a few EVPs. What kind of EVPs have you guys received that you haven't sent me?
Oh man, like, okay, so Lisa was there. She came down. She lives in Colorado, and she comes down a lot. And we were at a friend's lake house, and we were going to go swimming. And then all of a sudden, it was just like a bad idea. And so we started turning on devices and everything, and we were two psychic mediums, Lisa and another one, and an old friend of mine. And we just started getting Sam, and just a lot of things kept coming up. And I felt a shot in the back of my head. But everything that we were feeling between myself, the other two psychics, and what was coming across in the EVPs and everything is like, and all of a sudden I just felt a shot in the back of my head. My eyes blew up. I let off a crazy, crazy gas. Lisa, you were there. You were worried about me because it was so real. And so I just like that everything corresponds with what we're getting and what's coming across on the EVP and the audio and what's coming across. It just, does that make sense? I'm so nervous. I'm sorry.
No, it's quite okay.
But I mean, we capture stuff all the time. The thing is, like, what do you want to use? And it comes across so often. It's just, we've got tons of audio, hours of audio.
So when she came to me with a lot of her footage, she came over here, and so I'm a musician, also. That's one of my other side acts, if you will. Okay. And when I play, I also do sound as well. So I have recording equipment. I have much louder speakers. So she brought all of her stuff over to the house, and I hooked it up to a small PA speaker, and we were able to hear a lot more stuff. It's just trying to be able to say what it is exactly, but we were actually finding disembodied voices in a lot more of the things that she's got. So we didn't send those over yet because we're still trying to go through a lot of it. And apparently she had a lot more than she actually thought that she had.
Hours and hours. Sorry.
So I believe I forget how many, 3, maybe 4 EVPs that we have. Is there any
4.
particular one that you want me to play first?
I like the 1-7 when they're asking about. We're at the Old Park Hotel. It's a haunted hotel, definitely in Ballinger, Texas. We were asking if there were how many spirits were in there in the room with us.
Okay. Let me see if I can play that one real quick.
How many spirits are in this room?
Sorry. New program.
Yeah.
It must be at a different bit rate.
The right format earlier, so yeah, it was.
We got the MP3 format and sent it to you. It was one of those kind of a last minute thing that we had to kind of change a few things on our sound software, but we got it. I mean, it was actually very clear. They were asking how many are in the room.
Okay. It's got to be the new app that's at a different bit rate than what it was sent, because it was playing perfect earlier. So, all
Oh,
right.
that was a good one too. You Are Not Brave one was pretty awesome because that one was pretty good. It's where I was looking at my phone. I have a ghost detector, something basic and simple. While I was at the same time on my phone, I was using a voice recorder, and I was reading it off, and it was like brave, and then it said "You are not brave," and I was like telling the friend that I was with there at Old Park Hotel that like it says "You are not brave," and the voice comes across "You are not." It's clear as day. It's just like
Okay, I'm gonna try another one, see if it works. If not,
Isabel's a good one.
okay, because if not, then I'll try to load it on the other phone. Should be able to play it from that one. Let's see here.
we got plenty of time.
Let me try that one. No, I'm still having. Okay, so it must be. I'll get the other phone, download them from that one, and we'll go back with that. So.
Phone thief.
Okay, we got plenty of time. No worries.
Yeah, oh yeah. So, maybe tell about a couple of other EVPs that I don't have while I'm trying to load this up.
You know, it was a real freaky one for me. Was when we were going through stuff the other night. Yeah, her son. They kept. What did you guys think it was saying?
We couldn't understand. We really didn't understand what it was saying.
You thought it said leave,
and we kept listening over and over and over again. And
I had my son come in. My son does audio as well, and he's a photographer, and he's wanting to do something. So I was like, "You want to hear an EVP?" He's like, "Yeah." So he listened to it, and it sounded like when first we were sat hearing leave, and he walks in, and I said, "You got fresh ears. Let's have you listen to it." And he listened to it, and he goes, "Sounds like it's saying Liam."
That's funny because I have a 2-year-old named Liam, and we listened to more of that, 15-minute conversation, and it actually said Liam twice, and it said my name's Shannon as well.
Yeah.
So we didn't hear until we put it on his good, system. So that was kind of crazy to hear my name and my little toddler's name twice. It's like, no, you're not allowed.
Yeah. Yeah, we decided that's the reason why we decided not to send that one. Just keeping away bad mojo.
So,
I can tell you about Scotland when I was there.
Oh wow.
More of the metaphysical side, because that's where this is all founded for me. But back in 2014, I went to Scotland, and in Edinburgh, we were staying there, and we wanted to do the haunted catacombs. So the night before in the hotel, when I went to sleep, I woke up in a complete panic. I woke my ex up. I was shaking him like he had to wake up with me because my dreams were so vivid that I couldn't go back to sleep. And so I found out maybe another hour of sleep. But the next night, we were going to meet up with the group that we were supposed to do this, tour/investigation with. And they were asking for a volunteer. And of course, we're on vacation in Scotland. We had a couple scotches and everything. So, of course, my hand went up. And they had me come up, and they started talking about what they would do to witches. There was a lot of witch hunting going on in Scotland back in those days. And right away, they were talking about different things they would do to them to try to get them to say that they were witches. And one of them was they would put vices on their fingers until their nails would pop off. Well, in my dream, I had little dogs that kept jumping on my fingers and squeezing the tips of them when my nails were popping off. They weren't biting, but they were squeezing them. And then also they said they would, tie their ankles to their hands and push them over, into the water, into the marshes and stuff like that. And that was another part of my dream was I was bent over with my hands toward my, feet, and I kept getting pushed around. And so I looked at my ex instantly when they were talking like this because I got that energy. the night before with all that going on, and my ex was looking at me the same way. I was like, okay, this is really, really, really crazy. But I'm that's the thing about me with I'm a spiritual conduit, a psychic empath, but that the energy I'm drawn to is traumatic. Like, a lot of people are like, read me. I can't just have someone come up to me and say, read me. It has to be, I can't push it away when it's traumatic energy. It just, my hands start rubbing and it's coming to me, and it gets very overwhelming for me. But definitely trauma. I mean, that's something I'm definitely drawn to.
Oh, wow. So have you ever been into this question for all three of you, have you ever been into a place that felt extremely heavy, where you didn't think that your presence was welcome there?
You want to start that one, Lisa?
Yeah, that happens to me often.
Every day.
I work with my ancestors, and I'm highly protected. I have a very thriving business here in Colorado, and my boyfriend and I like to travel on the weekends and go explore and hike in the mountains of Colorado. And we've come across several buildings, old buildings in the mining towns that I was like, there's no way, we're not allowed up there. Nope. And sometimes I push myself to see how far I can go. Right. But it's usually because it's heavy energy and it doesn't want to be disturbed. And if you disturb it, I'm very big on psychic manners for both sides, for both parties. For the energy that I'm navigating, as well as my own intuitive, curiosity for things. So I feel that if I'm polite to the energy that I'm approaching, then there's a respect. And if it does not want to be bothered, then I can respect that, and I like to leave it alone. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about Shannon, is she understands that concept. And I find a lot of paranormal groups are so curious. They get in there and they just stir things up, and then they dip out. And then that energy is awoke, and then they call people like me and they say, okay, we can't sleep. My kid's having nightmares. Dishes are moving. And so we have to put it back to sleep or move it along. So I feel it's really important to do that. And heavy energy is everywhere. So it's all really about protecting yourself,
Right. So I think I've got the Seven Spirits audio ready, so we can go ahead and take a look at that. Hopefully. Cross fingers. So,
toes crossed.
Let's see. Oh, nope. Unable to play during a call, so... does
not want to be on the... Does not want to be out loud.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, I've never played audio on during an interview before, so I've new things that I didn't know that I couldn't do.
Right.
It's all right.
We'll find a way on my end to custom for people that know me that are listening to Shannon, that are listening. And I told them about it. I'll post them, in my Instagram, or at least in my on my Facebook page. And we're getting a website up and everything going too. So.
And we'll link them to you as well.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and put those, try to put those on the website also whenever we get off here, so that if people want to go and listen to them, I mean, you can explain what each one is, and they can listen to them after the show, or...
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So, where is y'all's favorite place y'all have been so far doing a investigation?
Mine, this is Shannon. So far, I'm gonna say the Old Park Hotel in Ballinger, Texas. I mean, that overrides Arlington and Hot Springs, and overrides Scotland, as epic as that was, and Gothic. But There is so much going on at the Old Park Hotel in Ballinger. It's amazing. I highly recommend that place for anyone. You're going to get all kinds of activity, and it's very responsive, and it's multiple entities at once. They want to communicate with you.
That's pretty
I-
awesome.
Oh, it's very awesome. I'm like, I want to go back, and I'm actually going to see about booking the first to go back again.
I kind of have a two-parter on that. Answering your one question about where I actually felt like I was. I guess I kind of felt like I was in danger, and but at the same time, it was the best place that I've ever been was Enoch Knob Bridge in Union, Missouri. The cool thing was that yeah, we were getting some responsiveness, but once it started to ramp up, because for a while there we were getting nothing. And we were getting ready to pack it up, and then we did the EVP session a little bit later, and we're like, let's try this and see how it goes. And once it started ramping up, and they saw the ball of light over my head, I was like, oh, okay, let's stick it out a little bit longer. And they were like, yeah, let's see what we can do. And we started like smelling like burning rope. It was really. It was very sensory driven. I mean, you could smell burning rope, and then it smelled like burning flesh. And I am an ER nurse, so I can tell you, unfortunately, I do know what that smells like. It was very gross, and we were all kind of feeling sick. And I looked at the opposite end of the bridge. We were in the middle of the bridge. The opposite end we were parked at, and I saw a black figure go walking from one side of the bridge to the other. And I was saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" And it didn't stop. It just kept walking. So we started walking that direction and just snapping photos. We had an orb that looked like it had a face in it. And then when we were standing there, you could hear someone go, "Jim, will you help me, please?" And at that point, it was time to peace out.
Yeah.
I actually probably had the strongest fear of impending doom and dread that I've ever felt in my entire life at that moment, because it knew my name.
Mhm.
And so we left there. I went to church the next day. I mean, it was it was a very sobering experience for me.
Oh, most definitely.
Awesome.
Let's see. So, let's see. You say you go mostly, or I don't. Say do mostly residential, right?
No,
Yes and no.
Yes and no. It's a wide variety. We're so open right now to any experiences. Like I said, I started this team. I was on a different team before and ended on good terms. And there was just differences. And there was a reason I wanted to start my own team. I wanted to go a different direction with it. And Lisa encouraged me to do that because I couldn't find one local in my area. So we're in the process of everybody getting trained. So we're taking on I want to do a variety of different locations, different types. So it's a trial and error thing. So when we go, like we do an outdoor investigation, okay, what did we learn from this? What do we need to do different next time so that we're ready to go full swing? So we're in a fun stage of it, the way I see it, because we're really going to be well versed before we take on clients. I mean,
Right.
We're still investigating and doing stuff, but
Right.
when we get really serious and like deep with helping people and everything, I want us to be very professional the way we come across it, because it is serious when you're dealing with spirits and you're dealing with demonic energy. But the team wants to sometimes be like, let's go do this and that. I'm like, it's a process. We have to be ready. So, and
Right.
Jim can tell you, I'm really diligent about everybody understanding fully what is going on, the equipment, what.
I think that's where you and I end up are very close on. Is that So we did do a residential recently. It's a non-disclosed area. The people did not want anybody to know where it was, but we went there and
It's about 7,000 square feet of residential.
it was huge. And we really didn't capture anything there, but there were, when we were at the end of it, we didn't capture any EVPs in there, but the last room we were in, we all felt like there was somebody standing in there with us.
We were getting it on the ghost detector. We were getting things, and we all caught it.
and we were all feeling it. We were getting some stuff coming through on the radio static. was interesting. And then a couple of the members of the group kind of trailed off a little bit. So it was kind of one of those things where we were still kind of trying to get our legs and everything. And we stopped the investigation at that point because we weren't getting a whole lot. But yeah, we do go to different places.
And the other crazy part about that was the one that everything started lighting up and getting active. That was like, it was,
Yeah,
he's in the yard nurse, he had to go in the morning. And that was like our first trial event. But yeah, the bad thing about that is we took over 200 pictures. We took hours of EVPs, videos. The next morning, everything on my digital recorder was zeroed out. There was nothing on there, even from hours from other investigations. And my SD card was completely cleared out too.
Yeah, the card that I gave her was the SD card that I gave her was completely wiped, and it had hours of footage that I had recorded. So
In my SD card,
yeah,
it was like, I don't understand that one, but it was completely wiped out and gone.
Oh,
So that was kind of a heartbreaker, like everything.
yeah, we had a ton of pictures. So the only thing we have left from that is what we have on our phones, and unfortunately, my phone didn't capture anything.
But the cool part is I have
Yeah.
permission to go back. It's a dear friend of mine. She's like, well, I guess you got to go back. I was brokenhearted. When I woke up next morning, it was like this, that paranormal hangover, ready to go over audio, my hair in a bun, eyeliner smeared. And I turn on everything, and there's 6 pictures. I was like, what? And it was, yeah, that was horrible.
Oh, wow.
But, like I said, we're in trial on her face.
Right. So before you go to a location, how much research do you do about a location before you go to it?
I like to look up the people that own the property before. You can go to like a lot of different avenues. I've actually talked to neighbors of places before. We have, on the team I was on before, we had a researcher. We want to look up everything. And I know someone in the title business, I like to have names. So when we get names that come across in EVPs and stuff like that, it's like validation.
Right.
And we had an investigation in Fort Worth, Texas that actually took 3 months for us to close that case out with the last team I was on. It was pretty in-depth. But there was a lot of research going on, a lot of Native American energy and spirit, a lot of demonic energy at one time. So
As a psychic medium, I like to go in blind. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know anything at all about the building, the property, nothing. That way there's somebody there, the researcher or whoever, can get confirmation for when I'm receiving information.
Right.
So I think it's important for people to understand that, for me anyway, that's how I like to do it.
See, I'm half on that one with you, Lisa. And that we've talked about that. I'm half there with you. The other part of me wants to know about any traumatic history or events that may have happened, so I can kind of tie if I'm hearing something, or it might lead down some more. The way I feel, if I know something,
right. But that's why that's why I just give you the confirmation, and you call and we get the confirmations for there.
And I basically go in blind. So I'm like, what we're doing? All right, cool, let's do it. They tell me what we're feeling. And that's
I've been in buildings waiting to get my hair done in Fort Collins. This is one of my favorite. I had just bought a new deck. I'm sitting there in the back waiting for my appointment to start, and I'm just looking at this new deck and just getting to know it, and then all of a sudden I'm like I'm hearing voices in my head, and I'm hearing like laughter and music and like party, and I'm like, this is interesting. So I started throwing my cards, and I kept getting women and singing and party. And I'm like, okay. And then I got fire and scared, and there was something sneaky. There was something very sneaky. And come to find out, by the time it was my appointment, I sit down and I'm telling my hairdresser, I said, can you tell me, or I said, I just got this new deck of cards, and I think I was talking to your building. And she's like, seriously? And I said, yeah. I said, I kept getting laughter and dancing and basically everything I just told you. And she's like, oh my gosh, this building used to be the old opera house. And I was like, awesome. A lot of singing there. Good time party. Well, there was a fire, and a lot of the performers were trapped in the basement and died. And nobody ever liked going down into the basement. That's where the break room was and stuff. And they had a lot of activity. And that's also the room that I was sitting above when I was getting to know this new deck of cards. That's where the waiting room was. And I was like, interesting. Okay. Way cool. Well, they invited me back, and we did a little, I call it a gallery. It's where, talking to the building or the spirits that are in the building. And got a lot of closure and confirmation. And then after that, they didn't wreak havoc. They didn't break shelves anymore. Nobody felt uncomfortable downstairs. And it wasn't like I moved them somewhere else. I just gave them a voice.
Right.
They were able to tell their story. And then somebody who, I think it was the manager, went down to the Fort Collins Library and got a bunch of information about the fire. And it did go to court. The owner had set the fire for insurance purposes. It was this whole big scandal. So that was really interesting to me, and that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy going in blind, because I learned so much. And there's confirmation in that aspect. But what I do is very, very different from the scientific part of it, which is what you guys do.
And I'm kind of on both, and that's
what makes us a good balance.
Right.
And you touching on it gives them a voice, and that's what's very important. That's what I love about Lisa, because I'm on both sides. I'm on the technical side, and I'm on the metaphysical side. But I think it's really, I want everybody to kind of understand why this is my passion, is because I told you I'm connected to trauma. I'm a definite empath, and I'm really highly connected to the trauma side of it. But it's not just for the living; it's also for the dead. So that's why it's so driven into my life, because it's there all the time for me. And so I've learned a way to embrace it and to use it and investigate it. And I'm just so grateful I have Lisa has brought me along this way to understand all that stuff. So yeah, giving them a voice, because there are so many spirits out there that don't know what's going on, or they're being held back by negative entities. And sometimes they just want their story told, like Lisa said, to have a voice. So that's real important to get across there. That's what drives me, is because I feel that in my heart and soul. I feel the emotions they go through. I feel the trauma. I feel the hurt, the confusion, and stuff like that. And that's what got me into paranormal. It wasn't just going and taking an SLS camera and getting some stick figures. It was more about understanding the emotions they went through and helping them and guiding them. And having, realizing how to put those bubbles around it, because that's hard for me, because I'm so drawn and attached to it.
Oh, most definitely. So, I've got a question for Lisa. When we've had a few psychics come on, and different psychics see and experience things different ways. Some see it by
Some see it by
pictures that pop in their heads. Some actually can talk to spirits.
Indeed.
How do you communicate?
So I'm one of the lucky ones that I get it all of the ways. I have all of the clairs. So sometimes it comes in words, sometimes it comes in pictures. One of my specialties is palm reading, where I receive information through touch, or psychometry. I can smell things at times. It really depends on how that spirit wants to communicate with me. They can use whatever tool works best for them. Yeah. I'm the freak that way. No, it's true. It's weird.
When we had so many experiences together, Lisa and I used to take so many different metaphysical classes. We've been through some experiences, sweat lodges that went abrupt. And
Yeah.
yeah, she's awesome. Everybody in the world should know Lisa. She's great. And
Thank you.
I'm very blessed. And for everybody else on our team that couldn't be here tonight, and that would have been just too much going on. We're already too much to handle anyway.
No, I think the conversation's going great. I just wish that I'd get the EVPs to working. So.
No, that's all good. You know, everything happens the way it's supposed to. The EVPs are awesome. We can't plan right now. We can't plan right now.
Our EVPs are shy.
Yeah, I think we've noticed with our equipment that sometimes things do get shy when we bring them back. The first investigation I went on with Shannon here, I showed up with full battery, and as soon as I got in there, I was feeling like there was somebody close to me, and we were getting ready to do an interview with the family, and as soon as I turned on the camera, the battery went from full to nothing.
Which
It
is
completely
classic.
drained.
Which is classic paranormal stuff right there.
Yeah.
But it's crazy when it happens. You're like, I was prepared, and here we go. It's gone.
There was a lot of switching out cameras that night.
Sounds like it. So I know earlier we touched on a heavy feeling whenever you walked into a place, but have you ever had any EVPs that or spirits that came over your EVPs that went and told you to get out or just didn't want you there or?
Oh yeah, I've been over an EVP that said get out. Ever get out? Definitely at the Old Park Hotel, there was multiple EVPs saying get out, get out. And I know that's a classic one too, but they were definitely get out, get out. And there were multiple voices saying it over and over again, get out.
Yeah, we were hearing it on different frequencies. That was what was interesting.
We tried playing with it to see and cutting out. What did you put to an amplifier? Did the voice only?
Yeah, I did a filter that filtered out almost all of the background noise and
voices.
almost everybody's voice, and then I slowed it down by I think 75%, so it was just very slow, so we could hear it like this. And it was at that point though. That's like how we were able to understand what some of it was, because some of it was so quick and it was very disembodied. So you really do have to. It's a labor of love to do this, because you really, especially with the AV equipment, you really got to sit there and go through things, and in order to be objective, really just break it down and get them bits completely right where you need them, and then just take it, and make sure that that there was nobody else making those noises.
And I got some stuff on camera. Well, when I was at the Arlington Hotel in Hot Springs. I was walking down the hall, and I was with, my youngest dad's father, and I felt like my calves were being completely pushed, and I was being guided to where I needed to go. And I didn't know he was behind me taking still frames and pictures. And I told him, I was like, this is really weird. I'm just walking. It led me to a bathroom. When I told him, I was like, dude, I'm serious. My legs were being pushed. I was being guided down the hallway. He goes, Shannon, look. And he started going back to the pictures. There were 3 different orbs, blue and turquoise, at my calf the whole time. So that was kind of cool. I mean,
oh, definitely.
It's often unique evidence that validates your emotions or your feeling or your energy or what you're doing. Validation is so awesome. Like when I felt that shotgun or that gunshot in the back of the head, and to hear a month later the property owner say, yeah, a year ago, somebody did get shot in the back of the head there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was insane. My head hurt for a week from that one, too.
So I want to get a little bit more in depth about what spirits may be. There's a few different theories out there that say that they could be time slips from people from the future, because time's in a loop and things like that. Or do you think that that it is the people that's passed on?
I'm going to say yes. There There are some things that are loops. So, you hear the story of the woman who shows up at the top of the stairs in the wedding dress every night at midnight. That's a loop. That's a loop. That is just a energy that is like on a loop, on a reel that just it continues to play over and over and over again. And then there's energy that's trapped, that doesn't know its way out. There's energy that wants to communicate. There's energy that wants to stay, that doesn't feel like it's finished.
There's also energy that's being held here by a stronger negative force that one
Heavier stuff, yeah.
and that is
Absolutely. So the answer to that question is yes.
yeah.
Just pretty much all of the above.
Being held back by demonic energy. Yeah, absolutely.
I had a question and then it went away.
I know, we're all over the place.
So there are investigators that go into places and they provoke. Do you like that type of investigations, or do you like to?
I do not personally, and that I've been on an investigation. I put Oak Park. I was there with a friend of mine who was doing that, and you didn't go on it. You need that to get evidence. It's disrespectful, in my opinion.
What about you, Lisa?
No, that infuriates me. I usually am the one that has to go in and close that stuff down because somebody went in with bad intentions.
So I gotta be. I'm 100% in agreement with both of them, especially from my point of view, from the AV, because when you get somebody who's sitting there provoking, when you ask I've learned that when you ask an entity, is there somebody here who wants to communicate? And you want to give that time for an answer, because that answer does not usually come snap right away. There's usually, it takes a few seconds. It takes that time for that energy to build to give a response. And I was going through some of her EVP sessions, and it was hard to say that anything was EVP or not on that one session, because the guy who was on there was just, "Are you here? Come on, move something." And then you'd give it a second, and then he's like, "Oh, you don't want to hear us? You don't want to hear from us?" And then you'd start to hear something in the background, but you couldn't discern anything.
It was too much at one time. You have to be patient with spirits. They don't answer you directly right away all the time.
Well, and it's a different type of energy, and that's what.
Yeah.
That's if I mean, older energy is going to be stronger than younger energy. There's so many different levels of it, intensities. So yeah, absolutely.
Right. So have you ever been into a place where I think it's called poltergeist activity, where the person's actually causing the activity without knowing it?
So the first real experience I had was at our family farmhouse in Missouri, Ironton, Missouri, an area that is known for having a Civil War battle, the Battle of Pilot Knob. And we were about 6 miles out from Ironton, and where we had our place, I was staying there with my grandpa when he first bought it, and he said, "Go unplug the air conditioner in the living room." And it was a window unit, so I went in there and I unplugged it, and I walked back into the kitchen, and we started talking for a minute, and my grandpa noticed the air conditioner was running, because I thought I told you to turn that damn thing off, and I said I did. And he goes, "Well, it's running." I said, "It shouldn't be. I unplugged it." We ran in there. It was unplugged, and it was blowing full blast. And we're like, okay, because we were getting ready to bomb the house, because when we moved into this place, the previous people were very dirty, and there were fleas everywhere. So we were bombing the house for fleas, and we were making sure everything was taken care of. And that was one of the things, was to unplug all your stuff. So we unplugged that, and we had just finished closing all the cabinets in the kitchen. It says, don't open your cabinets, keep them closed. We went back into the kitchen and all the cabinet doors were open. And my grandfather looked at me and he goes, we just closed everything, right? I said, yeah. And then you could hear the air conditioner fire up again. It stopped and then started again. So at that point, he goes, let's just light these bombs and get the hell out of here. So we did that. We left for the night. We came back. And when we came back in the morning, the air conditioner was going full blast while it was unplugged. And all the cabinets were open. Every closet was open. Every door in the place was open except the front door.
Wow.
We experienced a lot of stuff like that would happen randomly.
I had a client who, the little girl was not sleeping at night. And so she wanted a cleansing and a blessing. And so I go over there and there was a really sweet, soft energy in there. Come to find out, the little girl was staying up at night. It wasn't because she wasn't sleeping and she was scared. She was playing with her grandmother, who was there playing balls and tea with her. So as soon as the mom understood what was going on, they switched their time schedule around and got grandma to play in the afternoon so little girl could sleep at night. And it was just about communication. And those are always fun, to give confirmation to when your kids are having imaginary friends, talking to things that aren't there, but they're real to them. Those I find 9 out of 9.999% of the time, it's an ancestor. It's a spirit that is connected as a guardian, or a family member that has come in with the child and is hanging out till the child doesn't need it anymore.
Well, now I got that. It just got in, Lisa. We're talking about family members. When I moved into my house that I'm in now, I've been there for just a little barely over a year. The person who I subleased the house from, a personal tragedy happened in his family right after I moved in. And I'm kind of subleasing from him. And when this happened, I mean, the first month it was fine in the house, and then everything goes crazy. My house becomes a gateway. I'm seeing 30 to 40 shadow figures coming out of my toddler's room at night. I'm seeing orbs. I'm seeing sparks. And I wasn't sleeping at all. And all it took was talking to this person who I subleased from to talk to his brother who the tragedy happened to. And asked him, tell him it was okay to go, that you were loved, you were forgiven, it's okay to leave. And it was amazing. Everything left. It's just like sometimes they're not ready to go because they need to either be forgiven or just say they love you or say they're sorry. But they
just need a voice.
They can cause havoc and chaos and without it even being their intention. But when that energy is so strong and negative and traumatic, it draws in other entities like a magnet to come hang out with them. And my house was insane for a while, but we cleared it.
Most definitely. Speaking of gateways, a lot of people play with Ouija boards. Do you think that's an open invitation to spirits and bad things to come through? Does that open portals, or is it just a piece of cardboard that just doesn't do nothing?
Yes. I believe that it's all about intention. So if you sit down with a Ouija board and your intention is to wake up something heavy, with a heavy intention, then that's what you're going to get. If you sit down with a Ouija board and you want to talk to your great-great-grandmother, and you have a pure intention with love and gratitude, then that's who you're going to get. It's all on the intention and how what you set on it. There's three simple things that you need to make anything happen, and if you use all of those ingredients with the intention attached to it, then you're going to have things happen. And Ouija boards are definitely a Hollywood tool for that everybody has access to. Yeah, so I have one that glows in the dark. It was a gift. It was a gag gift. It's actually hilarious. I love it. I love it. I don't use it. I also have one that's got a big angel on it. I kind of collect planchettes. I have a good friend who made me a planchette out of a really, really old lilac bush. That's absolutely beautiful. So again, it's just, it's what is your tool to communicate with that other side or with that energy, and what is your intention?
When you're using a Ouija board, you shouldn't use them unless you are completely educated and well-rounded and understand what you're doing.
Well, there's always that.
I'm an ER nurse, so I got to say, it sounds like that would just be like something you would absolutely know offhand that, yeah, you should be educated. But I can tell you, if you don't educate people about this kind of thing, they will do it, and they will bring something on them that they don't want.
Well, it does come with a little instruction booklet. All of the ones that I have ever been given all come with an instruction manual.
I've never brought one.
So again, I do believe it's your intention. If you want to do bad things, then you're going to do bad things.
Absolutely.
Things are going to surround you.
Right. So we could spend like another hour talking about everything, but we are coming up at the end of the show. So if you have like a website or any way someone maybe can look at your stuff and contact you, where can they do that at?
Okay, exactly. So this is the deal. I'm creating a Facebook page now. This is all very new. I want to be professional and have some stuff to put on there when we do. But you can reach me on Instagram at Shannon_Dyrect Lync Paranormal, and that is DYRECTLYNC Paranormal. And you can also, and on there I'll put more links onto the Facebook, or you can catch me on Facebook if you type in Shannon M. Rogers. I put my middle initial in there because it's easier to find me. I put a lot of stuff on there constantly. I'm very active. And then you can also email us at directparanormal@google.com. And everything's in the works, definitely. We just want to have a professional site when it comes up. So everything's in the works, but definitely contact us, and we would love to either communicate, talk to people about things, or help people out. We're here for you if you need us.
Oh, most definitely.
Well, I have a Facebook page, a website, Instagram. I have all that stuff. So I'll just throw one out there. Facebook, everybody seems to do. It's Raven Readings, Insight for Practical Life. Email is ravenreadings@gmail. And Instagram is Insight120. Thank you guys for having me be part of your team and part of this interview tonight. I love you.
Of course.
Love you. And thank you guys for having us on tonight. Thank you so much. I think it was kind of a cool experience for us, all coming together and everything. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and maybe we can have you on sometime in the future.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Once an update, kind of when we get the team well-rounded and going, and kind of see where things have gone. That would be really cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. God bless.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.